On February 4th, 2026, EASA put out a pretty significant update for one of the most popular aircraft flying today. We're talking about Proposed Airworthiness Directive 26022, and it's a really critical change for the entire Airbus A320 family. In this explainer, we're going to break down exactly what this means for operators. So, what's actually packed inside this directive? Let's get right into the key requirements that every single A320 operator needs to get their head around for both flight safety and, of course, regulatory compliance. To really get the full picture, we'll walk through this in 4 key parts. First, we'll start with the why, the background behind the directive. Then we'll cover the who, which aircraft are actually affected. After that, we'll get into the details, the what and when, so the specific actions and deadlines. And finally, we'll wrap up by looking at the impact on safety and operations. So let's start with maybe the most important question of all. Why? Why was this directive proposed in the first place? Understanding the reason behind it is absolutely key to grasping its importance. While this new proposal, PAD 26-022, it actually replaces an older directive from 2024. The main trigger for this change was a major update from Airbus to its Airworthiness Limitations section, or ALS. And this update, it brings in new and in many cases much more restrictive life limits for critical aircraft parts. And that ALS is really the heart of this entire directive. Think of it as the ultimate rulebook for how long an aircraft's most critical parts can safely operate. It sets mandatory tasks and hard limits that aren't just suggestions, they are absolutely essential for keeping the fleet airworthy. So this all leads us to the core safety issue here. What is the specific risk that this whole directive is designed to prevent? EASA doesn't really mince words in the document. They state the risk very plainly, and I'm quoting here. Failure to accomplish these instructions could result in an unsafe condition. Now, that might sound simple, but it is a powerful statement. It underlines that these tasks are completely non-negotiable. This isn't about best practices. It's a fundamental safety requirement. Okay, so we know the why. The next logical question is who? Let's identify exactly which aircraft fall under the scope of this new proposed directive. And the applicability here is, well, it's incredibly broad. We're talking about the entire A320 family. That's the A318, the A319, the A320, and the A321. And crucially, this includes all the new engine option, or NEO variants, right up to the latest A321NX and NEAP versions. The bottom line is, if it's an A320 family jet, it's covered. And just to be crystal clear, there are no exceptions here. This isn't limited by a manufacturing date or some specific batch. Every single A320 family aircraft, regardless of its serial number, is included in these new requirements. All right, now for the most practical part of this whole explainer, the compliance actions and deadlines. This is the what you need to do and when you need to do it by section for all affected operators. Let's dig in. So it really boils down to 2 primary actions. First, operators need to replace any of the affected life-limited parts before they hit the new stricter limits from that new ALS. Second, they have to officially revise their aircraft maintenance program, the AMP, to make sure it reflects all these new limitations.
This table lays it out nice and clearly. As you can see, for component replacement, the deadline is immediate. You simply cannot exceed the new life limits, period. For the paperwork side of things, revising the AMP, operators get a 12-month window from the directive's effective date. And the key document for all of this is the Airbus ALS Part 1, Revision 11, Issue 2.
So let's pull back a bit and look at the bigger picture. How do all these technical requirements actually translate into real-world impacts on safety and, daily operations? The safety logic here is actually simple but really powerful. So what's the risk? A critical part operates past its safe life. What's the action? This AD mandates the implementation of new, stricter life limits. And what's the outcome? The risk is directly addressed, and the continued airworthiness of the aircraft is assured. From a management perspective, here's the high-level summary for you. The main operational impact is going to be felt by the maintenance planning teams. They're the ones who need to adjust schedules and update the AMP. Now, the good news is the risk of unscheduled downtime is pretty low, as these component replacements can usually be aligned with existing maintenance checks. The responsibility for getting this done, it falls squarely on the camo and maintenance planning teams. So let's just recap the essential obligations one last time. Who is affected? All operators of the A320 family. What must be done? You've got to replace parts according to the new limits and revise your AMP. And when does it need to be done? It's effective immediately for the part life limits, and you have within 12 months for the AMP update. So the bottom line really is this. All operators have to ensure full compliance by the deadlines. That means coordinating your camo, your planning, and your maintenance teams to get this done on time. And please remember, while this explainer gives you a good overview, for the complete and official instructions, you always have to refer to the official EASA AD text and any related Airbus publications.
Subscribe to AEROPODA YouTube channel